What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. Well, if you guys follow my Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that other bullshit, I had my DNA tested. Several months ago, I made a video about Ronnie Coleman having his DNA tested at, I think it was the Olympia or Arnold or whatever it was. And a company contacted me who saw the video and said flat out, like, we do this all the time. We'd like to test your DNA to see where you come in at. So the results are in. You can see it's actually Molecular Testing Labs, okay? It's www. Well, I'll just hold it up at the bottom. You can see the website at the bottom right there. Take a screenshot of it or whatever the fuck you want to do. What I find very interesting with this DNA test is it was fucking dead on. Like, these people don't know jack shit about me. I took the swabs, I sent them back in, and it was dead on with some of their shit that, well, pretty much all of it. So, some things I didn't know. So, my genetic risk of obesity is just about normal risk. So it's more than likely I'm not going to be fat. Normal satiety, I feel full very easily. It's normal. Weight loss with a diet for me is more difficult, which I found kind of interesting because it's not really hard for me to diet or to lose fat with diet. But then again, I do some extreme things, so that kind of would change that. Typical food desire, I have no increased risk for impulsive eating. Okay, that's part of my genetics. That's why I can diet so well. I can stay so strict with things. I don't have any way, I'm genetically not prone to compulsive eating. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. Basically, let's keep going through this. Genetic assessment for diet. My perception of bitter taste is not very good, which means I can't taste bitter things very well. Caffeine metabolism. Okay, I have a fast caffeine metabolism, which makes me sensitive to stimulants, which is 100% true. 200 milligrams of caffeine works just fine for me. Something like Yohimbe makes me so fucking crazy I can't take it. So that was dead on. Lactose tolerance, perfect. I digest milk and milk products perfectly. Alcohol tolerance, perfect. However, I have a fast alcohol metabolism, which means that I metabolize alcohol fast, I get drunk fast, but I also sober up very fast too. True. Here's a true fact that they have carbohydrate metabolism and lipid metabolism. So let's just go through. They have a section highlights thing. Medium taster of bitter flavors means I really don't differentiate between bitter or sweet, whatever. Maybe that's why I don't have a sweet tooth, so I don't differentiate between bitter or sweet. Intermediate metabolizer of caffeine, increased sensitivity. Lactose tolerant, alcohol flush reaction is less likely. Medium sensitivity to carbohydrates. That means that I can have some carbohydrates that my body processes well, but other ones I don't. Okay, here's where the carb is not a carb comes into play. Low sensitivity to saturated fats. Okay, it means I don't use saturated fats very well at all. Again, a fat is not a fat, so which means that when I'm having the diet that I eat now, which is basically chicken and egg whites, I have low saturated fat in the diet, but I use stuff like macadamia nut oil, avocado oil. My body processes those very well. It's very hard for them to store as fat, and I stay leaner. So therefore, like, what I'm doing right now is pretty much optimal for my body, which I didn't know that, they could test for this stuff. I stumbled on it myself by experimenting to find out what works for me. Let's see. I'm likely to have elevated bad cholesterol and depressed good cholesterol in response to a diet rich in carbohydrates. To improve my lipid profile, it's recommended to limit my carbohydrate intake to 40 to 50% of my daily calories. So 200 to 250 grams for a 2,000 calorie a day diet. That's what the most that I should take in. If trying to lose weight, 135 grams is about where I should be at, which I find that interesting because, yes, I can lose weight on 135, but to get shredded, I have to go a lot lower. So, I mean, it's pretty much dead on. It says limit sugars, refined flours, potatoes, pastas, and bread to a half a cup serving per day. Preferably, they want me to have whole grains. Avoid empty carbohydrates such as sugar, white flour, and fruit juices. Pretty much what I do. Adequate protein per meal, portion of body mass, average protein requirements. Avoid combining starches with excess fats, which adversely affect insulin sensitivity. Association with my genotype for fat itself. Biggest sources of saturated fats, cholesterol and lipids are likely to respond better to a diet lower in fat but higher in monosaturated fats. That's for my specific genetics. I'll benefit more by consuming foods higher in omega-3 relative to omega-6 because my genotype is more sensitive to the inflammatory effects of a high ratio of omega-6. Both are essential, but the omega-6 must be balanced with the omega-3 Tells me to eat more fish, walnuts, and flax oil. Limit soybean oil, corn oil, margarine, shortening, nasty shit. Anyways, choose grass-fed beef over corn-fed beef, etc. I should consume 1 gram of omega-3 for every 4 grams of omega-6. This is for optimal health. I mean, optimal function of my body. Avoid high-protein diets for weight loss instead of attempting weight loss. Low-fat, moderate level of protein, which is kind of what I'm doing now. I'm not eating a whole lot of protein. I'm eating maybe like 170. I don't even know what it would add up to, but I'm not eating anywhere even close to what I used to eat in the past. Vitamins. Vitamin A, normal conversion to carotenoids from active vitamin A. Vitamin B6, normal clearance. Vitamin B12, normal absorption. Vitamin D, normal requirements. Vitamin E, not impacted by triglyceride levels. Folate, normal requirements. So basically, the vitamins in my body, levels and stuff, were perfect all the way around. Genetically, my body processes and makes these things very, very efficiently, which I thought was kind of interesting. Vitamin E levels are normal, so basically that gives an overview of that. Now here's what's interesting. When it tested me for muscle fiber type and what I would predominantly be muscle fiber type, if you look at this, where it says U right here, I'm all the way at the end of the power spectrum as opposed to endurance. Now I found that super interesting because even as a teenager when I was very thin, I couldn't run the mile. I had no endurance. I played football, and rather being something like a wide receiver where you had to sprint down the field, anything with endurance, soccer couldn't really do that well. But I was a defensive end, a small defensive end, because I could explode so fast off the line and get past the guards that they were like, well, he can go so fast that he can explode. But it was like a quick explosion, but then I would run out of endurance. And the way that I train, 7 to 9 reps, somewhere around there, it's all towards power. It's not towards endurance training. 25, 30, 50 reps, drop sets, all this bullshit. That's why a lot of that shit doesn't work for me. Genetically, I'm not built like that. I have an increased amount of fast twitch muscle fibers, which are good for power. I have enhanced benefits with regular exercise. Low risk for Achilles tendinopathy means I can't tear my Achilles very easily, which I found very interesting. Increased susceptibility to delayed onset muscle soreness and lack of recovery. It means I don't recover fast, which means that all those drop sets and all that bullshit, I was 100% right in the fact that I do not recover fast. Ronnie Coleman recovered quickly. He could do that shit over and over again, multiple times per week, and still recover. That's the type of genetics he had. We're sitting at, what, 7, almost 8 minutes now? Basically, it talks about mutated gene confers, yellow genotypes, highlighted in green, blah, blah, blah. What I did find super interesting in here, too, was my mom and dad have both type 2 diabetes, and my dad will probably be insulin dependent within the next couple of years. My body actually has a gene type that I cannot get that, which is I found super interesting. Like, I won't get diabetes, and I'm genetically prone to not get diabetes. So, I mean, there's some other things in this. There's a lot more to go into that talk very specifically about, just for instance, like, the different vitamins, how my body uses them, why what gene does this, fast glycolic muscle fibers, hypertension response to physical activity, which I found very interesting. So when I train, my blood pressure spikes like crazy, probably more than the average person. I didn't know that. However, I've had instances where I passed out training in the gym, doing like a barbell row. I flipped over the bar because my blood pressure went so high that I passed out. So, I mean, this thing is like pretty much dead on. I think it could be lipid levels, body fat, Achilles tendinopathy, rupture, training-induced changes in HDL, LDL. I have some of the stuff is kind of hard to understand. When paired with genotypes, certain others, blah, 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 blah. Talking about enhanced oxidative capacity, zinc stores, which delays muscle soreness. I mean, there's so many other things in this. I think it's absolutely something that if I had this 15 years ago, I probably would have saved myself a shitload of time, experimentation, and wasted fucking time. So my advice to you guys, if you're interested in this, contact Molecular Testing Labs in Vancouver, Washington. Their phone number is 855-897-7201. Check it out. I'm not sure, I'm not sure how, how this thing nailed everything perfectly. Obviously, it's not a gimmick because it's pretty much exactly what I had found out to begin with. So check it out. It could save you a shitload of time, and who knows, like maybe at some point these things will be cheap enough to where most personal trainers will have swabs done, not most, but some good personal trainers will have swabs done for their clients to figure out how to put them on a program from the beginning that is exactly perfect for them without any kind of experimentation. That would be pretty awesome. Biostraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostraining.com is a blog. It's the DNA tested bicep, and we're out.